So, I'm not exactly the type of person who goes looking for trouble. I'm 27, live alone in a small apartment in the city, and work as a software developer. My routine is pretty standard. Wake up, coffee, work, maybe go for a walk if I've been cooped up too long. Nothing exciting, nothing unusual. I've always preferred it that way. Life is predictable, and I like it that way. But about a week ago, that routine got shattered. And looking back, I should have known something wasn't right from the start. It was around 2 a.m., and I had just finished a late-night coding session for a project I was working on. I had been in the zone for hours, and my eyes were starting to burn. I wasn't exactly thrilled about the idea of heading to bed, but I knew I needed sleep. I left my desk and walked out of my living room, heading for the bedroom, when something caught my eye. At first, I thought it was just the lighting playing tricks on me. But no, there it was. A door. A door I swear wasn't there before. It was right next to the wall opposite the kitchen, tucked away in a corner I never remembered seeing. I froze, my heart rate spiking. Maybe I'd just been too focused on work? Maybe I hadn't noticed it before, but I was sure I had been through that part of the apartment hundreds of times. And yet, here it was, this dark wooden door, old-looking, with a tarnished brass handle. Something wasn't right. I stood there for a moment, staring at it. I wasn't exactly scared, more confused. I told myself, it's just a weird door that's been here the whole time and I never noticed. Maybe I'd been so busy with work that I hadn't paid attention to it. But then I had to ask myself, why would there be a door in that spot? The layout of the apartment made no sense with it there. I didn't want to seem crazy, so I shrugged it off and went to bed. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The door was wrong. It was like it didn't belong, like it had no business being there. The next day, I went about my routine, but the door kept nagging at me. I kept telling myself I was just imagining things, but every time I looked over at that corner, I couldn't help but feel like it was staring back at me. A couple of days passed, and I was starting to get irritated by my own paranoia. It wasn't like the door was doing anything. It was just there. But then something happened that I couldn't explain away. It was close to midnight, and I was working again, as usual. My desk lamp flickered a little, like it does when the bulb is about to burn out. I didn't think much of it until I heard it. The soft, almost imperceptible sound of a knock coming from the direction of the door. I froze. My heart sank into my stomach. I told myself it was just my mind playing tricks. Maybe it was the wind, maybe I was just too tired. I even went into the living room to check the windows, but there was no one outside, nothing. But the knock came again, louder this time. Knock, knock, knock. I swear, I felt my heart pound in my chest. I stood there, frozen. My thoughts were all over the place. Maybe it was a joke, a prank, a neighbor messing with me? I didn't want to seem paranoid, but I couldn't ignore it. I had to check. Slowly, I walked towards the door, my steps feeling heavier with every inch I moved closer. I touched the handle. Cold. The handle was cold, even though the rest of the apartment felt warm. I shouldn't have opened that door. But I did. I don't even know why. I just turned the handle and pushed the door open. The moment I did, the air in the room shifted. It was colder somehow, and the room beyond the door was dark, impossible to see. I flicked on the light switch, but nothing happened. No light. I felt my heart drop. I could feel it in my bones. Something was in there. I couldn't see anything, but I could feel it. The silence in the room was suffocating. Then, just as I was about to step back, I heard it again.
Escape.
A whisper.
We're always watching.
It was quiet at first, but it grew louder.
Give in.
Leave. I slammed the door shut, my breath coming in quick, shallow gasps. I backed away from the door, not even sure what to think. Was I losing my mind? Looking back, I should have trusted my instincts. I should have gotten out of there, called someone, done anything to get away from that door.
Alive and waiting.
But I didn't. Instead, I stayed, trying to pretend it was all in my head. But the next night, things got worse. I couldn't sleep. My eyes kept flicking to that corner of the room where the door stood. It wasn't right. The door felt like it was alive, like it was calling to me. Around 3 a.m., I got up again. I don't know why. Maybe I was tired of fighting it.
Maybe I just wanted to prove to myself I wasn't losing my mind. This time, when I opened the door, I wasn't greeted with darkness. Instead, I saw a room I had never seen before in my apartment. It was old, like it belonged in another time. Dust-covered furniture, a chandelier that was barely hanging on to the ceiling, and an old moth-eaten rug. The walls were covered with faded wallpaper, yellowed with age. There were no windows, no exits. It was like stepping into another world, a place that wasn't supposed to exist. I stepped inside, against every rational instinct I had left, and that's when I saw it. A mirror. An old, tarnished mirror standing on the wall in the far corner of the room. It wasn't until I saw my reflection that I realized something was terribly wrong. I didn't look like myself. My reflection was distorted, like it was trying to scream for help, but I couldn't hear it. My eyes were wide, filled with terror, but my reflection wasn't moving with me. It was frozen, a second too late in every movement. Then, the whisper started again, louder this time. "You shouldn't be here." I turned and ran. I ran faster than I'd ever run before, through the kitchen, back to the living room, and out the front door. I didn't stop until I was in my car, driving away, my hands shaking on the wheel. But here's the thing.